Good morning, everybody. We just sat through 3 different briefings, got weather 3 times, at least 2 times.
Yes.
Welcome to Baggies Out. I'm Dieter. That's Zarek. We're going to go over everything that we saw this morning. If you are a spectator and you want to see all the balloons that are going to be all over Longview, make sure you check out gtbr.net. That is going to have all of your information of where to go this morning, where all of the spectators are to go, as well as where all of the remote controlled balloons and the special shaped balloons are, because there's going to be balloons all over Longview this morning.
It's a balloon-filled city today.
Yes. So for U.S. Nationals, one of the 3 competitions that are going on this morning.
And the Young Guns.
And the Young Guns.
So they're all sharing tests.
They're flying on kind of the northwestern part of the city.
Yeah, so it looks like they'll start sort of, their first target's in, I guess that's the southish part of the city or middle of the city, and then they're going to be flying north across the city.
Yes, the Young Guns competition and U.S. Nationals are flying the same tasks this morning. U.S. Nationals, this is day number 5, whereas day number 2 of the Great Texas Balloon Race and the Young Guns competition. Young Guns is a really cool competition that we have here at the Great Texas Balloon Race, where it is all young pilots under the age of 30 only doing the 3-day event, but they're flying all of the U.S. national targets, so they really get a taste of what competition
the high-level
is.
competition
Yes.
tasks that you would see at those higher levels, but with a smaller group, so the scores can be a little bit more forgiving, and it's just less. You're not competing against world champions for maybe your first competition.
Yes, but it's going to be a beautiful morning. We have 5 tasks this morning. 3 hard targets and 2 digital tasks. Our first hard target is going to be a fly-in task. That is just going to be an X in a field, and we also have the rubber ducks this morning.
There's going to be a little pool. The pilots can throw their rubber duckies into that, and if they manage to get it inside the pool, then they get a cool prize. I think it's just cash, but that's a cool prize.
Yeah, so they want to be the first ones to throw the duck into the pool. I believe it's $500 for the first person, and then after that, it gets split based on how many
other people
have gotten in there. And I think it was 4 made it yesterday.
I'd heard there was at least 4 ducks.
There was at least 4 ducks. So hopefully we'll see more, because I mean it's a kiddie pool. It is not.
It's not a big.
It is not a big target. And I know some years no one makes it, so 4 is quite a lot.
Yes.
So far, even for that. Our second target for the morning is going to be a fully digital task. It is a fly on. This is what we've been having all week so far, where you have to declare a target that you want to fly to. The pilots declare that. They then fly to that target. There are some restrictions on that. They need to be a kilometer out from any other target before they can declare. I believe they can declare in the air this morning.
Yeah, so typically
Yes.
the pilots can declare something on the ground. So you have sort of what we call a provisional declaration. So then if you forget to do something in flight, you can still get a score because you've at least put a point on the map somewhere that you can score to. Once you're in flight, things tend to change with the weather while we're flying, and that sort of changes our directions, and you can redeclare that fly on to be more in line with where you're flying towards, so you can improve what your score could be.
And we've been seeing really good scores with these all week long. I think the best score from yesterday or the day before was 10 meters, which is really impressive when you consider the GPS is accurate to 5.
Yes, yeah, and they're not just flying to a point on the ground, like directly overhead. They're flying to a specific point with altitude in the sky. So they were less than 10 meters away from that
3D
exact spot in space.
So that's really impressive. Our third task is a Bill Bussey task. So this one's a little bit confusing. So, Zarek, what is a Gordon Bennett Memorial or a Bill Bussey task?
So first off, this is a remix on what in our rule book is a Gordon Bennett Memorial. So there's still an X on the ground with a typical task or a target, but instead of trying to get you're still trying to get as close to the X as possible, but you're typically not going to be on the X because it's going to be in an area outside of where you're allowed to score. So in this case, there will be a race car pattern or drawing made with some tape for the pilots to fly into, and they can put their baggies anywhere inside the race car, including the windows and the tires here. And I'm not sure. Oh, I think right
the
here.
X is over here. I know the front of the car
Is the best
best location.
So the X, if you throw a baggie here, you don't get a score. But if you throw it right here on the tip of the race car, that's going to be your best score for that. So it's just, it increases the difficulty a little bit for the pilots, sort of makes it a little bit more fun because we get to do little fun shapes like that. And so it's a fun little tribute for Bill Bussey.
Yep, so that one's a fun one. The next one is just a hesitation waltz. We've seen these all week long. This one, there
Yeah.
are 3 targets. The pilots are just going to choose one of those 3 to fly to. The one interesting thing about this morning is all of the targets are very much in a straight line.
Yes, yeah, they're really going off of that wind line, I think, today, where it's I think I was seeing like a 340 or
340 to 350, I think, was
yeah,
what I
think
was seeing.
there was even a little bit more over 360 or into 1 and 2 and everything. So it's a pretty good wind line, I think, for the pilots to get some good steerage out.
Yeah, so that will be a fun one. Unfortunately, we've seen the hesitation waltz, and this is kind of why they're called. For the most part, people have been going to one of them. We don't really get all that much of a spread between the 2 or 3 that have been called, and
That
honestly,
tends to happen
yeah.
with this hesitation waltzes. They're usually towards the end of our task sheets because at that point the winds are starting to become more unpredictable and shifting around because things are as the morning progresses, the winds shift more for us. So that allows for the competitors sort of to get more options of targets that they can approach if things have changed. And you can see that in a lot of flights where if the early competitors may fly to one of the targets and then later on they may end up flying to one of those other hes waltzes.
So maybe we'll see the spread. Maybe they will all come into one.
Yep.
It's hard to tell. I do know that especially on these 3, they are not particularly far apart this morning.
Yes.
It is not that much of a spread. They're still kind of within that wind line that we were talking about, the 340 to kind of true north 0.
So the public target for today, we're let know is the field south of the Longview Exhibit Building, across JC Drive. So that should be just south of here at Mod Cobb, I believe. And the field there is, so you'll get to see the duck drops, so the kiddie pools, and we're bound to see someone get into there. So that should be great for everyone to check out.
That is the first task. I don't think anyone's going to be blowing that one off, especially the one thing we didn't say is that fly-in, that first task is a gravity drop.
Oh, yes.
So they are not going to be throwing the baggie. You're allowed to kind of have it off of the bolster,
Yes.
the edge of the basket, and you
hands
have to
be
drop
inside.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
there can't be any horizontal movement on that. Otherwise, you'll get you'll be penalized points. So I think that's it for the tasks.
Well, there is the maximum distance
yes,
double drop.
that's
That
right.
is our
Go for
last
it.
task. So there are 2 2D polygons that the event director has called. The goal is you drop 1 logger marker in one spot and then the other logger marker as far away from that first spot
Yes.
in the other polygon.
Yeah, so I think today is just one polygon. It's sort of like a rectangle with a square hanging off of
Okay.
it. So as soon as you enter that polygon, you push a mark for your digital mark, and then you fly to the other side of it. And you don't want to leave because then you don't get that second score. But then you do that, and it's the maximum distance between those two marks.
Yeah, so the furthest distance of that wins. It's a little difficult to see, but yeah, it's a rectangle and a bit of a square.
Yep.
And you want to have the most amount of distance traversed between your two.
Yeah, they're going to measure from.
Well, yeah, it's
your
not
mark to a
traversal.
mark. Yes.
You want the maximum distance between the two marks.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you
Swirl
swirl
or
around.
go left and then go all the way up. It's just point to point.
Yes. So that is going to be our 5 tasks for the morning. I think they're going to be really cool.
Yes.
We've been getting.
I think it's a great set of tasks, and it's fun to see a 5-part task.
Yes.
The day before what should be our last. Weather looks good, so we should get it in that last flight tomorrow.
Yeah,
so.
we've been getting really good weather all week long. It's been a great event. So just make sure that you check out gtbr.net. That is going to have all of your information on everything that is happening for the rest of the weekend, the glows, the drone shows, everything else that you might want to see, any of the model balloons, any of the special shapes. That's all on gtbr.net.
Before we took it off, we have the leaderboard showing. In first place is Joe Zavada. He has 13,946 points. Trailing behind him is Nick Donner, and Joe has a pretty good
About
gap.
500 points.
Yeah, about 500 point gap, which is.
But there's 5,000 points available today. Each task,
could
the
really
maximum,
shift things around.
The maximum amount of points you can get on each task is 1,000. If you get first place, you get 1,000. So if you do really, really well today, even what we're seeing down at 13th or so, Gary Heaven with about 11,000 would be able to jump up to that first place spot. Likely,
if he nailed everything, maybe not the first spot, but he could at least he can get a lot of points there. But everyone else is still gonna share amongst some of those points too.
But we have been seeing the person in first gets 1,000, and then it decreases, and we've been seeing it decrease dramatically.
Yeah, the targets have been really competitive this week, where baggies outside of 1 meter are low scoring. Yeah, they're low scoring baggies because there's just so many people right there on top of the X.
Yeah, so it's been a very good week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Baggies Out so that you get all of our content all the time. We are going to try and put out as much content this afternoon as we can from the flights. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us what you want. We also have a Patreon if you want to support us. But be sure to go out, Longview, see all the balloons. It's going to be a great morning.
See you out there.